So, hey everyone, I wanted to hop on and record a follow up video to the one I recently released. And I appreciate I've given this a slightly intriguing name, The Gift and the Trap of Spiritual Entrainment. And I'm going to get quickly into what I mean by that. So, I'll start with some of the lovely responses I had from people saying how much they enjoyed the last video and how much they found themselves going into a deeper place when they were listening to it, which is great on some level. And I want to say what the gift of this is, what's going on when it happens, and why it can also be a trap that we need to be aware of as well. So, in physics, there's this idea of entrainment, and what it basically means, in basic terms, is that when you have two frequencies together, let's say you have an incoherent frequency and you have a coherent frequency, and you put the two together, they will tend to converge into a coherent frequency. Now, it's probably somewhere a mix of between the two. So it's not quite that a high frequency will cancel out a low frequency. It's more that a coherent frequency will tend to bring an incoherent one into a state of coherence. And that's really important because in the last video, I talked about how when we're in this space of oneness and unity and wholeness, we're actually in a very heart coherent state. And there's coherence between our heart and the brain. So when you are around a spiritual teaching or a practitioner who has done a lot of work and is in an inner state of coherence, and they're communicating from a state of coherence, what's actually happening on some level is that that frequency is being presenced. And because that is within you as well, you are now being offered the chance and the opportunity to attune to that frequency. So the more you hang out in that space, and in the three principles, we used to talk about this as staying in the conversation. So the more you're staying in that conversation, you're putting yourself in the environment where there are teachers who are in a coherent place, where you're listening to teachings that are coming from that coherent place, then what you will find is that you will tend to slip into that frequency yourself. Now, this can be a massive gift, right? And it's beautiful when it happens because we're literally bathing in the frequency of ourselves, and then we're entraining to that and coming home to it. It's beautiful. And if you've never ever experienced that, it can actually be life-saving because it opens up a space within you where suddenly you feel possibility, suddenly you feel free, suddenly you feel whole, suddenly you feel oneness. And it's great in that sense. But there's a sneaky little problem that can kick in, which is that it still can look like that feeling has come from outside of you. So if you're not aware of what's going on when you drop into this space, you start innocently looking for it in other external places. So maybe you continually seek it out in conferences or in new teachers or new teachings, and you keep looking for it externally. And all the while you're not in those external places, you might find, oh, I'm not in it. And so I must need to seek it out more. Now, what's going on when you come out of those environments where you felt it is that you haven't anchored that frequency into your nervous system yourself. So although you may entrain to it when you're around a spiritual teacher or a teaching, actually you're losing it because you haven't learned to actually see that this is you. It's actually who and what you are. So when we're touching that space, it's such a foreign place for us to see, and it's such a foreign place for us to live from, that we can't hold that frequency for any period of time. And the more you think it's external to you, the more you'll keep looking for it externally. So there comes a point where we've got to realize the nature of this place insightfully, right? Okay, this is our place of peace. This is our place of power. This is where we are electromagnetic. This is where we get to actually create by molding the hologram, by being in this electromagnetic place. But we actually have to teach our nervous system that it's okay to live there by practicing it. Whether you do that through, breathing practices, or whether you do that through heart math practices, or whether you have another way of doing it. But the key part is we have to realize this is an internal state. We also have to realize that we have to bring the body up to the frequency of living in that place by practicing it over and over again, because our nervous systems are just a byproduct of our consciousness on some level. So it's great to touch this space, but to hold it and to live from that place, we have to teach the body every day that this is not only safe and powerful, but we've got to experience it in our body. And when we do that, the body starts to adjust and it starts to adapt to this new consciousness and this new feeling, and we get to live from it more and more and more. So I wanted to put this video out there, right? Because I love it when people are touched by the things that I share. But I love it even more when they recognize, oh, I'm touching the feeling of who I am. And when they recognize, oh, that's not coming from John, that's not coming from this conference, that's not coming from this book or this teaching or this audio. Maybe those things are presencing that frequency for you. They're helping remind you of who you are, right? But there's now a need for you to go, oh, I need to remember this daily. I need to have practices to do things, to remember and anchor that into my body, right? And the more you're doing that, the more you're reclaiming your power and reclaiming your sovereignty and remembering the true nature of who you are and where it really lives. And to tell you the truth, this was one of the reasons why I stopped doing coaching for a while, because I don't want people seeing me as the guru or the person that put them in a particular state. Like, I'll do my work and I'll touch that space as much as I possibly can. But I do not want people thinking that I am the source of that, because now they've given their power to me. Don't do that. That's in you, right? So I love it if you touch the space. I love it even more if you know to look to this space and remember it daily in yourself by practicing it and seeing the power of it and bringing yourself to it every day. Because now you've remembered who you are. Now you've remembered your power. Now you've remembered your sovereignty. So thank you for watching these, and I'm glad you find them helpful and enjoyable. Please continue to do that, and please use them as a way to remember who you are, because that for me is music to my ears as well. So sending lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.